Okay, I'd like to call us into session. Welcome, everybody. There we go. How's that?
Works better.
Okay, Ms. Ford, roll call.
Chairman Smith.
Here.
Mrs. Black.
Here.
Mr. Connor.
Here.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mrs. Jones.
She is, I
She
saw
sat
her
here.
a minute
I saw
ago.
her, and she sat here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Perez.
Here.
Mrs. Faye Robinson. Mrs. Tiffany Robinson.
Here.
Mrs. Sermon.
Here.
Dr. Wingate.
Here.
Superintendent Dr. Robertson.
Here.
Okay, and Mrs. Jones raised her hand there, so we see her. Welcome. Okay, I need to approve the agenda as amended. Reminder, we are going to delete item 8C will be deleted. So would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Groan.
Yes.
Mrs. Jones. Okay.
Yes,
Mr.
Chairman,
King.
raise your hand.
Yes.
Mr. Perez.
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson.
Yes.
Mrs. Sermon.
Yes.
Dr. Wingate.
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes. Okay, want to welcome Visa Williams from Wolf-Teaver Creek. Are you here, Miss Williams? Thank you guys for coming.
Hello, good evening to all of the board members, chairman, Mr. Smith, and co-chairman, to our superintendent, Dr. Robertson, and our deputy superintendent, Dr. Stewart. We are very excited to be with you this evening. I am Visa Williams. I'm the assistant principal at Wolf-Teaver Creek. Our principal, Gail Huffstetler, is under the weather and was not able to come, but I did bring a few students from Wolf-Teaver. And just to tell you a little bit about them, they are representing two of our leadership groups at Wolf-Teaver Creek. Wolf-Teaver, we are the Wolves. So we have one group of students called the Alpha Wolves, who are our elementary version of a beta club, so to speak. The Alpha Wolves must have excellent academic performance and model appropriate behavior. They promote college and career readiness. They help encourage students to follow school expectations, and they even tutor younger students by being pup coaches. And also our student lighthouse team members, because we are a Leader in Me school, and our student lighthouse team's mission is to promote the 7 habits of happy kids and to live out leadership through character and their work ethic. And I'm going to have them share just a little bit, tell you who they are, and then share a little bit about their roles.
Hello and good evening. My name is Deborah Ellis. I am a 5th grader and president of Alpha Wolf. During the month of January, we have been learning about setting goals and making an action plan to achieve them. Setting goals, having an action plan, and tracking your progress are big parts of winning the private victory and leading yourself.
Hi, I'm Marion Butts. I'm a 5th grader and I'm a member of the Alpha Wolves. My goal for this semester is to make all A's on my report card. In order to achieve this goal, I plan to use these strategies. I will stay focused, listen, and participate in class. At home, I will continue to do my homework and study hard for tests. I would check my strategies, and my accountability partner is my parents. When I achieve my goal, I plan to celebrate by going out to dinner and then ice cream with my parents. I
I am Malia Pugh, a fourth grader and member of Student Lighthouse team. This semester we are talking about moving from the private victory of leading yourself to the public victory where you have the opportunity to lead others.
I am Edie Kilpatrick, a fourth grader, member of the Student Lighthouse team. Being a leader means thinking about others, not just yourself. When finding solutions to problems, everyone wants to be valued and recognized for who they are, a unique, one-of-a-kind individual. At our school, students are told every day that they are loved, wanted, and important, and they are able to do hard things.
I am Jacob Boucher, a fifth grade member of the Student Lighthouse team. How do you show a win-win attitude when you and your friend want to do different things? You start by listening as each person shares what a win would be for them, and then you synergize to come up with an alternative that leaves everyone feeling heard and valued.
Hello, my name's Aubrey Jalkea. I'm a fifth grade member of the Alpha Wolves. Another way that we create win-win mindsets at our school is by reciting the Wolf Tiva Creed together every morning. We would like to share our creed with you now. You have a copy so you can follow along. I am bright. I am special. Today I have the courage to be the best that I can be. I am responsible for my actions. I have a brain. I can learn. I am loved. I am not a lone wolf. I'm an important part of the wolf pack at Wolf Tiva Creek Elementary School, where children are empowered to succeed. Thank you.
Hi, I am Gabby, a fifth grade member of the Alpha Wolves. Thank you so much for allowing us to share some of our learning with you tonight. Also, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be leaders every day at Wolf Tiva Creek Elementary School, where children are empowered to succeed. Please stand with us to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all again.
Good job. Way to be a leader. Yeah.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Let's appreciate them one more time. It's a great job. Okay, we're ready for our disclaimer statement, so we'll just start down there with Mr. Grown and work our way down.
Does not apply.
Okay, I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and that the board's vote on the budget and policies may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and that the board's vote on budget policies, etc., may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
Ms. Jones, can she read it?
Yes. Okay, well, you're.
I believe you're muted, Caritza.
But I think she's got it memorized, which is pretty impressive.
She does.
Yeah, she's muted.
Yeah, you are muted.
I think you're muted, Caritza.
We can't hear you. All right, I'll read it. Maybe we can come back. I declare that I have relatives who work for the school system, and that the board's vote on all items may have an effect on my relatives' employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
Okay.
I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and that the board's vote on budget, policies, etc. may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have a family member who works for the school system and that the board's vote on budget, policies, etc. may have an effect on my family member's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and that the board's vote may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
Okay.
Try Ms. Jones.
Hang on, we're going to bring Ms. Jones back up.
Technology's wonderful and works.
Is Ms. Jones there? No, she's not.
We lost her.
Hope she's safe.
There she is. Welcome back. Welcome back. I think you might be muted.
There you go. Try again.
But it's not showing.
There you go. Now we got you. Now we got you. We'll let you sing the national anthem. We'll get started here.
You probably don't want me to do that.
Okay. All right. So that takes us
She
down.
needs to read her declaration.
Coritz, I don't know if we heard you or not, but just to make it all right here, the disclaimer statement. Can you remember that? If not, I'll have Marco read it, and you can just say I do.
Yeah. So if Marco could read it for me, so that I can make sure it's said correctly, I will say yes to you.
Okay.
That counts. We're good. I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and that the board's vote on all items may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system. If you do, please say I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Jones? Excuse me, Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black,
Yes.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones.
Yes.
Stop just a minute. I had a light come on that I did not see. Excuse me, Ms. Thurman.
Well, did we vote and then we bring it up?
For you to pull something.
Pull
No,
something?
you gotta pull something
Okay, well, I started to
first.
say, I couldn't remember where we were and all this. Okay, yeah, I just want to pull something just so I can vote against it, just because I can. So I want to pull 6E1A, the board members' development opportunities.
Six E.
1A is the board members'
1A.
development opportunities, yes.
Okay.
The board policy 1.2.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, board policy 1.204, yeah.
I apologize.
Wait.
I didn't see you lit up there.
That's okay.
That's under consent.
That's under consent,
Yes.
right? Mm-hmm. Do you see it, Mr. Wingate?
Give me the number again, please.
6E1A. BP 1.204.
Okay.
Okay. So, Ms. Ford, I guess we just need to start all over and do the roll call again.
Okay. Mrs. Black,
Yes.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
No.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson,
Yes.
Mrs. Sermon,
Yes.
Dr. Wingate.
Okay, and this is for the agenda, not for the policy, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Chairman Smith,
Yes.
you want to change yours? Okay, so you want to vote yes? Mr. Brown votes yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Thurman, 6E1A.
Yes, this is saying that each board member will have the allowance of $3,000. I just don't think that's necessary. Like I say, I've been on the board 20 years and we've never had this issue before. Just, maybe we keep somebody from spending more than this, okay, but then it says you can transfer your allowance to others. Now, if you were going to say give us $3,000 and I could spend it, what I didn't use in my district, I might go along with that. Say if you would spend it on something in my school, but just to give each one of us $3,000 to go, to use for travel, I just don't feel like it's necessary. So I just wanted to let that be known by voting against it. Thank you.
Mr. King?
What was the previous amount that was given to board members?
Typically, this has been kind of under superintendent's like org chart. And just last year, we separated. Was it 20,000? It was 20,000. But typically, I mean, if you kind of think about 2,000 per board member, now we've got 11. So under the old system, would have been about 22,000. This one's asking for 33. What I would press the board on is again the importance of this board advocating for kids in Hamilton County and the learning experiences. I know it's something new and it's something maybe that some aren't comfortable with, but I do think that where we are in education in Hamilton County, even though we're part of class, we do need to have representatives and people that are advocating for our district at a lot of these meetings. And again, you think of overall $33,000 for our budget, and compared to what other government entities put into these types of things, I think it's a small ask of this board to say it's important that you guys stay informed and advocate for our kids.
Mr. Perez?
So I watched the policy meeting and heard a lot of the discussion. I want to give my own viewpoint. I think especially to teachers, we got some emails there. And I think in terms of everything my wife had to do to become a teacher and all that she had to study, and then still has to go through professional development and is still evaluated continuously through the system as a professional. I, as a board member, I'll speak for myself only, I just had two requirements. I needed to be older than 18, and I needed to be a U.S. citizen. One of those has been questioned multiple times because of my looks. I get it. But that's it. We're going to bring on 5 new board members next year. The state of Tennessee, I think wisely, or 6, the state of Tennessee wisely recommends or requires, I don't know what they can do if we don't do it, but they require that we have 7.5 hours of training, that's 1 PD, as board members, because we're making decisions over 44,000 students, 6,500 staff, budgets, facilities, all these things, and they say 1 day a year you should study. I'm one of the ones, Ms. Ford could probably, who's probably used the least of this. That's not a pro. Okay, like I'm being honest, as a community, you should hold me accountable to doing everything I can to learn about how to do my job effectively. I read a lot, I study a lot, but I go to as little, and I'm going to tell you, sometimes I even kind of sneak out of some of those sessions. I'm not your standard. On the other hand, we have some board members, we all knew them in high school, who go to everything and take notes and study and learn and grow, because this is how they're going to serve us as a community. And in my opinion, $3,000 a year to give our board members the opportunity to study and learn and grow and educate themselves for the sake of our students, it's 0.0005. I did the math of a $600 million budget, 0.0005% of our budget, and we're not even talking 33. We're talking a difference of $11,000 to the budget so that our board can go to as many things. I'm not that board member. I applaud those who want to be at everything and want to go to everything, want to learn. Yes, there's a cap. I think if we would have said 6,000, that would have been a lot. I don't think this is a lot to ask. So that's my opinion. I understand teachers are upset. I hide my swag that I sometimes get because my wife, who works 80 hours a week, doesn't get it. I get that sometimes it's like, why are we giving board members these things that the rest? The point is, $33,000 a year of a $600,000 budget to educate your board. You should be requiring me to do as much as I can to learn about serving you. And I think the fact that we address those who are doing everything they can in negative terms, I'm not here to defend anybody. Every board member can defend themselves, but I think this isn't the big ask of us. So thank you to the board members who do go above and beyond.
Mr. Brown?
Well, I've got to address Mr. Perez, if you would. Mr. Chair, you reminded me today that I was slightly younger than dirt, but it's actually .00006. So
Thank you for that correction.
that comes from a former math teacher at middle school as my part of my second career.
Oh, is that all, Mr. Brown?
I stand corrected.
To be clear, Dr. Robertson, these funds have always been there. What we're essentially doing is putting some guardrails with regard to how we get into that piece of funding for the board. But it's always been there.
Yeah, we've always spent money. I don't think that we, until the last budget, had a separate line item for the board. It essentially all was under the superintendent's office. I think this is actually a better way for us to be transparent about what it's being spent on. And, you know, you think about the average, if it was $2,000 per, we would have spent $22,000. So Mr. Perez's point, it's essentially a difference of $11,000.
Okay. Ms. Black?
I just wanted to say, this also provides, like, the limit on each single board member, so that, like, it's not a line item budget for the 11 of us, and, you know, like, 2 people have spent, you know, however much. This gives a parameter for each person, correct?
It does, but again, to earlier point made, I can't remember who, there's the provision in it that, you know, if a board member uses $1,700 of it, that could be made available to another board member.
Is it on the discretion of the board member who hasn't spent it? Okay.
That's the intent. Mr. Bennett, I would say that, and then I'd look over to you, but I would assume that the intent is clear in the language.
Okay. Mr. Connor?
We did talk about this extensively in the policy meeting, and I'm again, this is the bus stop that I'm good at stopping at, but I do want to take a second to say thank you for adding in number 4. When a conference, convention, or workshop is not attended by the full board, those participating will be requested to share information, recommendations, and materials acquired at the meeting. I think that it's a huge thing that if we are doing this, and if we are saying we need to be personally developed, that we go and do the development and come back with the notes, show receipts.
Ms. Sermon?
I'm laughing because, I mean, there may be some board members I might give my money to and some I might not. I mean, that could cause a lot of trouble. I'm going to say, no, I'm holding on to mine. You know, Larry might want to go somewhere. No, I just see this being a problem, and people getting there. I mean, we have people get their feelings hurt over lots of things on this board, so I just think that might be a problem. But like I say, the good thing about it is it does put a cap on what some people can spend. But like I said, I just don't like that board. That any board member can transfer their funds. I think if anybody, you know, wanted to go to something that wasn't out of the norm for what we normally spend things on, maybe they could come back to the board. But anyway, that's getting into a whole nother thing. But as far as this policy, that's why I'm going to vote against it. Like I said, if you said, Rhonda, if you don't use your $3,000, you can take it and put it in, buy something for a school in your district, I might go along with that. But as written, not, because I just don't like that. Like I say, Joe, I don't know that I would give you any money. I might, for you and Paula to go on another trip. I don't know. But You know, I just say, I just don't like the way that it's actually written. Maybe it sounded good at the time, but I just see it could cause some problems in the future. So I'll be voting no.
Okay. Mr. Groen.
I just have a question for Mr. Bennett. Could a amendment be offered to strike out the last sentence of number 2?
Sure. What you can't do, and this is to Ms. Thurman's point, because of Tennessee budgeting laws, you can't take money that's allocated in a line item of your budget and transfer it to another line item. So like if Ms. Thurman had $3,000, she didn't want to spend it, she wanted to give it to the library at Soddy. Middle.
Daisy.
Soddy
Daisy.
Middle. You couldn't, she
Soddy
couldn't.
Daisy. It's not just Soddy.
You still couldn't do it.
Okay. Not even at a real school we have that's called Soddy Daisy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
So,
okay,
so
that answers my question.
Because you're moving
but
things between line
I still,
items.
okay.
To
I
Mr.
understand.
Grove's point, if you want to make a motion to strike that last sentence, sure.
Well, Mr. Chair, I want to make a motion that the last sentence of item 2 be struck.
Which says, any board member may transfer funds from his or her allowance to any other board member for use in accordance with this policy.
Exactly. I would like to strike that sentence, and I make that motion.
Okay.
And so we're clear, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Groen, is that a motion to approve, because we don't have any motions on the floor. So is that a motion to approve this proposed policy without that language?
Yes.
Okay.
To approve it as amended.
And I second that.
Okay, any other discussion? So to be clear, we're eliminating that transfer sentence.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman, I feel like we're getting in the weeds on this, but I think it's important to understand what we're saying here, right? Essentially, we're limiting any board member from doing anything that costs more than $3,000, which, I mean, we had the sheet at the policy meeting when we discussed this extensively. I think just to go to the November TSBA thing is about $1,700. So, yeah, this past year. So I just, again, emphasizing, number one, it's $11,000 difference in this budget. To Mr. Perez's point, I think it's important for people to go, and there's a provision in here that requires them to come back and present to the board to educate the rest of us. So just want to make sure we're clear about what the motion is that's on the floor.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I wouldn't be preventing any board member from going to any training session after they've spent the $3,000 that we are providing for them. If they want to do so, as Mr. Perez spoke to, they could do it like I had to do, following my wife's career as an Army nurse and having to do all the continuing education and all the recertification in every state that we moved to on my own dime. And I think that if a board member wants to go to meetings beyond the $3,000 and they think it's that worthwhile, they can pay for it themselves.
Okay? Anything else? No more lights? So we've got a motion and a second. So Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black?
No.
Mr. Connor?
No.
Mr. Groen?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
She went blank.
We hear you. Oh, we lost you.
Did y'all hear me? I think.
Yes, we got you.
I'm sorry. I did not hear you.
What was your vote?
I said no.
No. Mr. King?
No.
Mr. Perez?
No.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
No.
Mrs. Sermon?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
So I'll just say I've never said anything before I voted because I think it's dumb. You just say yes or no, but I'm not for this policy at all. I think what we do currently is fine. I was not for an increase of $3,000. So I don't know that I'm for or against striking a line. I would like to strike the whole policy,
Amen.
to be honest, but so I don't really know how to vote. I'll just vote no, I guess, because I'm against the whole thing.
Chairman Smith.
No.
So that fails.
Okay.
Motion.
I make a motion to approve the policy as written.
Second?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
So we have a motion and a second to approve the policy as it was originally written. Discussion? Mr. King?
I will bring up one thing, and I said it previously. There are meetings that somebody needs to attend. We know they do. And some of these meetings are not in my wheelhouse, and I am happy when one of our board members attends these meetings to represent us, more importantly, to represent our teachers and represent our students. And I don't think when they're doing that, they ought to have to worry about, where the money's coming from there. So, again, there are a lot of legislative meetings that happen during one school year that we need to be a part of. So, again, that's why I seconded this motion.
Okay, Ms. Jones? Can you hear us there?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Okay, so I have a question. Ever since I travel, go to TSBA or to go to TSBA for national convention, or we're able to go to our training.
Ms. Jones, you're choppy. We don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure if the dollar amount of 3,000 is what's necessary, but I do feel like with TSBA having went over to the CASA association, that some of the things that they require of you from a national level, TSBA being a big first, does constitute individuals having to travel some more. And with it being an 11-member board now versus a 9-member board, the cost automatically went up for just the general things that we do. So I'm not sure if every would utilize the $3,000, and I know this has been talked about before, but I do think that we have to look at some type of increase in the overall budget to support those who need to go when they need to go.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Okay, there are no lights on, so we're ready for the question.
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Groan?
No.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
No.
Dr. Wingate?
No.
Chairman Smith?
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Okay, so that takes us down to administrative matters. No, we're already past that, haven't we?
No.
No, okay.
That was a pulled item.
We talked about the calendar in our agenda session. Any other questions on that? It's just a first read for tonight. We're not going to vote tonight. So,
Are we going to get a handout of this, or is it just going to be just what we have?
Yeah, we can get you a hard copy.
I wish you'd get a hard copy. That'd be great. Thank you. I thought maybe there might be one here and I missed it.
There's one online. Oh, okay, there's the one online.
Second page.
Oh, is there one here? Did I miss it?
In the agenda.
In the agenda, if you click on it, you do have to go to the second page.
Oh, I know that's there.
She wanted a
I just
hard
thought we
copy.
had, I was going to look at it real quick. Okay.
No, it's online.
It's just too, I'd rather have a hard copy to look at.
okay. And we have a first read there, board policy. We talked about that. So now we're ready for our Phase 1 school facilities plan. So we entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black,
Yes.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Groan,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson,
Yes.
Mrs. Sermon,
Yes.
Dr. Wingate,
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes. Okay, it takes us down to our Red Bank High School HVAC system. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black,
Yes.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Groan,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Perez,
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson,
Yes.
Mrs. Sermon,
Yes.
Dr. Wingate,
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes. Fund for Excellence, our MOA for Howard Turf Field and Brainerd softball improvements. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
Did you say?
That was Chris, seconded.
I think. Did you second Caritza?
No, I did not take it.
Okay, okay. I couldn't hear you.
I'll second it for the same reasons that that the things that come from the ARPA funds aren't, they're sent over the way that they're stated, and it's either we accept it or we don't. I will take the moment that I'm seconding it to just say that I agree. I don't like the way it happened, but I am very, very happy that our students will have a nice place to play ball and to potentially bring in funding to the school system.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second. So, Ms. Black, discussion?
I just want to reiterate again what Mr. Perez brought up. And we didn't, as the school board, have any control over how these ARPA funds came to us as a community member. And I was incredibly, incredibly disappointed with how our local nonprofits were treated and how these ARPA funds were taken from the Urban League and Sankofa. These are two organizations that are incredibly important to our community as a whole and the district that I represent. I'm happy that Howard's going to get new turf on the field, like Mr. Connor said. I'm happy that our students are going to benefit from this money. I am very conflicted and very upset about how this money came to us, but it was done by another body. But I felt like it was my responsibility to speak up for my community and say that I'm very upset as to who paid the price to get this money to us.
Any other discussion? Go ahead, Caritza.
I just wanted to say that I am going to recuse myself from this vote as I am a member of the Sankofa Fund for Civic Engagement, and I am not, I don't feel like I should participate in the vote.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jones.
I'll also state, and I should have piggybacked on Mr. Perez earlier, I also have a relationship with the Urban League that creates a conflict, and so I'm going to be voting no on this, and so I just wanted to state the purpose of that. I certainly don't like the way that this went down either, no doubt, but more importantly, I have a business relationship with the Urban League, and truthfully, I'm also a supporter of the Urban League, so I'll be voting no on this as well.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, I'll point out that recusals effectively count as no votes because we still have to have 6 positive votes to accept the money. So I'll just make that observation for the board.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Mr. King?
Well, I guess we all see that it was bad politics that led to this, but the question is by saying no, what benefit comes to our school system? I mean, that's the question I ask myself. If we say no, Brainerd has been looking for a softball field for years. Yes, I understand Howard was surprised, and they have a nice, grass field. I guess I look at the Brainerd situation more than the Howard situation, because Brainerd's in desperate need of a softball field. And if I'm not mistaken, it's still in a Title IX situation. No, it is not now? Okay, so we don't have to worry about the Title IX.
Well, no,
part.
I mean, it is, like, that's a concern. There's not any pending litigation on it.
All right.
But to your point, there are concerns
Right.
regarding Title IX there.
Right. And, I mean, I know that's how we received a few different fields, not turfs and stuff, but Central High School got a soccer field, Ooltewah High School got a soccer field because of Title IX issues, and it was a negotiation before it ever went to court, and I'm seeing the same thing with the Brainerd softball field. So I was just curious, by saying no, what benefit is it to our school system versus saying yes? Mr. Groen?
Dr. Robinson, when
come
was
back to you, Chris.
the new Howard Stadium open?
Oh, gosh.
2
Asking
years?
hard questions. 2019 or 20, maybe 2020.
Yeah, so we've got
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, we got a brand new natural turf on that field. And then we're talking about ripping it out. Can I get some explanation as
Yeah.
to
It's a really
why
good-
that decision was made and not some other school? For example, Brainerd High School,
Yeah, I think it's a good question.
the baseball field, for example, at Brainerd High School.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think trying to compare it to other schools would get really in the weeds. In general, you think about Brainerd or about Howard. Howard's, got 1,500 kids, girls soccer team, boys soccer team, football, band, everybody using the same field. The only other practice field that is there is the lower field that is in that. I mean, it essentially it may be flooded right now, right?
Yeah.
And so, in terms of like the wear and tear on that field, it's the same conversation we had when we decided to put turf at CSLA, is that there is a single field that's got multiple sports trying to use it, and that's why it's there. If you're asking me, again, hindsight's 2020, I think we maybe would have been a better decision 4 years ago to put turf on it. But that was a different board, different administration, and so forth. But my justification of why I can say it's a good idea is because of the limited amount of practice space that's there, the number of kids that they have playing on it. And then again, if you look at the long-term wear and tear and care for a field, that comes into play as well. I think also the location, it's one of the few fields that when you think about the location, it is a place where, could generate some income in terms of running tournaments and things like that, and possibly down into the future positions the city to go after things like spring fling more than we have in the past.
Has anything been done about the Brainerd boys baseball field?
Not yet, but again, what was approved here in the facilities plan this evening, if you remember, it mentions that athletic upgrades would be included in that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because I used to manage an adult baseball team, and our deal with the school was we would help with that field.
Yep.
And we did. And so it needs to be done and addressed. So
Yes, sir.
I'll be pushing that also. Thank you.
Mr. Wingate?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, both of these facility changes at Howard were initiated not at the school board level, at the county mayor office level. I mean, the new, right, but I'm saying initiated by, Mayor Coppinger initiated the Howard Stadium the last go-round.
It was
And-
part of the, I think the 2017 bond issue.
Right. I'm just saying, that wasn't a school system deal, and it wasn't a school board deal. It's not necessarily where that came from. And same thing here. So just so that's clear, is that, just so we're clear, Chris, you better turn Siri off.
That's what I was hearing.
I'm just, what I'm saying is, we can debate this issue as far as a turf field at Howard and all that. Those things aren't coming from the school system. Just so we're clear. Everybody, just so we're clear. And I'm there with you, Mr. King. I mean, you know, Brainerd doesn't have a softball field. That's the deal. They haven't had one. So we've got a school that doesn't have a facility. They need a facility. So I'm not necessarily wanting to be entangled in the politics of all this. I do know how it originated, where it has come from. It doesn't have anything to do with anything that we've created, we've initiated, or we're pushing. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me to build a brand new football field at Howard High School and 4 years later put turf there. But again, that came from a different level of county government. So we are where we are.
Ms. Jones, did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think that, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I think that Frank does deserve a softball field, just as I believe that I would look, of course, that every school gets a service field going forward. However, for me, it's more of a principal matter. The money has been given, so the money's going to, right. For me, it's more of a principal matter of what it did to the black community. Aside from that, though, I do want to point out that for me, in Brainerd getting this softball field, I want to ensure that this field is not placed until we are doing something facility-wise. Thinking that if we were doing something facility-wise in Brainerd to include all the athletic fields that they would need, then I would hope that another sport that would need something would get it. Now that softball is getting it from this dollar amount.
Okay. Mr. Wingate, you're still lit up. Are you okay? Anyone else? Okay, we've got a motion and a second and discussed, and so Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
No.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Abstain.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
No.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, that takes us down to our lease agreement
Motion
for
to
our
approve.
Head Start. So I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Discussion?
I'd like 4 seconds.
You can count me.
Thank you. Okay.
Looks like there is no discussion here. So, Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
I'm abstaining as it's a conflict of interest for me.
Okay. Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. Okay. That takes us down to information. You see the dates listed there. 22nd of January through the 26th, our school choice parent-teacher conference is going on. Wednesday, February the 7th, of course, is a half day if we can get back to school. And then Thursday, the 15th, will be our next board meeting, work session, of course, at 4:30, and the regular session at 6. Does anybody have anything else?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'll defer.
Well, I want to thank the team and the administration. This week has not been easy. You've been given decisions that I'm sure sometimes go late into the night. We are putting the safety of our students above anything and everything else, as well as safety of our team and our staff. And I know that the community, having those kids in our home for a long time, the community, feels it, but I thank you personally for the tough decisions you've made. So thank you very much.
Spoken like someone who does not have 3 children.
My kids are
Just
grown.
saying.
They've been baking. It's been wonderful.
Do they babysit?
Let me show you what my children were doing today. Hold on. I want you to know what they were doing. They were in their swim trunks playing in the snow.
Good for them.
They need to be learning. I'm just kidding. It's fine. No, you're right. I agree that the team has done everything they can, so thank you very much.
So Dr. Robertson?
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to recognize that this is School Board Appreciation Month, and I know got some feedback around this, but I am
so
saying
loved
this.
right now.
No, I'm going to make, but it's important for our public to understand this, that you guys do a job that is thankless. You're not compensated anywhere near what you need to be, and it's a difficult job. And whether you want me to publicly acknowledge you or not, I'm doing it because it's important that this community understands that leadership matters, and it matters more than ever at the school board level. And so I want to say thank you publicly to each of you for what you've done, what you'll continue to do, and just service of our kids, right? And so I want to say thank you for that and appreciate everything you've done. And the biggest thing is understanding this week. This is, as Mr. Perez said, not been a fun week, and you guys have been super supportive. And I say that in just your funny text and encouraging text that you send. I appreciate those more than you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Do I have one thing?
Ms. Thurman?
I'd just like to thank everybody for the vote on the school. Saudi Daisy would be so excited, and I just appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the dialogue. Well, it will be all right. We'll be all right. I've talked to all 11 of them already, so we're good. So, but anyway, I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. We've waited a long time, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we stand adjourned. Everybody be careful going home.